feedback testing, does it make a difference to project success? It's an interesting conversation. I'm doing an experiment with how I provide feedback in development. What I'm up to at the moment is building a new app. And as usual, in life, I get to choose 2 out of 3. You can have fast, you can have good, or you can have cheap. Choose 2. Now, this is an interesting dilemma because I'm using Fiverr, much to some of my friends in software's chagrin, delight, curiosity. But I've got some guys who build Figma. I'd never heard of Figma before. I had been told that it was possible to build high fidelity prototypes of software that you can click and do everything in without actually having to build the app. And I'm like, oh wow, that sounds pretty cool. And so I found Adobe XD, but these guys are building in some other thing called Figma. Am I concerned? Well, it's a learning curve. It's a interesting experience to go into this as a beginner, as a Zen beginner. I got no idea kind of what I'm doing. I'm like, hey, this is what I want. I've got a clear vision of where this is going, but I have tried to give feedback before where I'll make a video and I'll just run through all the steps. But what I found was that usually out of, let's call it 7 changes, 2 to 3 would be made. There'd be 2 changes, 1 change that was not mentioned, and 4 missed. So I'm trying a new experiment because I want to see if I can increase the hit rate of feedback success. So what am I doing? Well, this time around, instead of making one video and talking it through, which when I am dealing with people who have English as their second language or time delays or all that sort of stuff, these challenges of working in a remote world where the price is cheaper, but I got to do more work. And my skills as a communicator, my skills as a leader, my skills of being able to describe what I want clearly and effectively come into how the final job gets completed. The interesting thing is that it is not a guarantee by any means that by going to the West that all of these things will be solved correctly. Why? Because we're all still dealing with people. I'm dealing with people. Yes, the language barrier is less, but it is easier to learn lessons at, let's call it $50 an hour than at $300 an hour. That in building this first prototype app, I'm learning so much. I'm like, oh wow, you could do it this way. You could do it this way. You could do it this way. But what I am taking from the entire experience is that when there is smaller, simple steps, the chances and the probability of success are higher. By making it simple, people can say, yep, there's 1 change here, or there's 3 changes here, and that's it. There's not 7 mixed into a video with understanding. Even if it's a screen share and they can watch what I'm talking through, it still gets lost. And this is because most people haven't been trained to break down a video into its ideas. They're like split, they're focused on other things. There's a world of distraction, there's Facebooks. Even on the meetings with them, it's been fascinating to hear the bing, 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 bing. I'm like, man, what is going on? As notification after notification after email come in. So one of the great challenges that you face, that I face, that our teams face is distraction and completion and tracking of what needs to be done. You see, it's highly unlikely that the guys that are building the app have a breakdown of all of the items that need to be done. I have actually even tried this. I was in the meeting And we went through it all. I'm like, yep, you're clear. We reviewed all of the changes. Then I typed them out and still 2 out of 7 got done. 5 out of 7 did not. So I'm running a new test. This is an interesting test. What I am doing, well, let's rewind a little bit. So one way to delve with this problem is make one change, wait for the change. One change, wait for the change. One change, wait for the change. Now, this is relatively ineffective and is much better done when both the developer and myself are on the same phone call and we're working through. I'm like, hey, no, change that. It is incredibly difficult to describe in words what's going on. Like, really interesting. What I saw, the ideal would be that we could both see each other's screens. So I can, hey, this is what I'm talking to. Rather than trying to describe, I want you to go to the left-hand border of the right-hand pane and drag it so it is kind of in a bit. Very difficult. Get the mouse, I'm like, this bit needs to go here. So these learnings, these improvements make a difference. So let's get to today's change. So I didn't have time to get on a call and I wanted to give the feedback. So what I did, instead of doing one video, I did 5 videos with one change. There's 5 changes. Change this, 1 video. 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 And I do not know how this is going to go. It might be exactly the same outcome. It's like, wow, look, 2 changes, 3 got missed. But I also took each video and had it as a separate line in the feedback. So we're using Fiverr. There's a messaging system. It's like 1 change, 1 video, enter. 1 change, 1 video, enter. So I'm curious. Now, if this fails, I'm just going to move to what I described before. Let's meet up. They can see my screen, I can see their screen, and we go. Now, hopefully there's a tool to do this. I don't know if there is. I'm excited to find out. But these changes, the way to get feedback quickly implemented is such a big issue. Why? Because the slower the feedback, the longer everything takes, and the more chances there is for the project to fail. So what I want you to do is look at how long it takes you to get feedback in projects that you're completing. Like, even if you're just observing them and you're watching your teams work, this is a good question to think about. How long does a change take to go from, hey, we need to make this change, to change implemented? And reducing that time will significantly increase your ability to succeed in business, which means more money for you, more happiness for your family, more happiness for your team, making a difference for your customers in the world, and giving your life purpose and meaning. This is the true cost of a lot of society. The West is getting lost in our relative abundance. But when you're making a difference in the world, there is purpose. Your teams can feel it, your families can feel it, and you can feel it. And you wake up in the morning and you're on fire. You're like, yep, let's go to work. So have a look at how important this one little tweak is. How long does it take for you to go from change to implementation? That's all I got for you today as we continue this powerful journey into the power of systems to create results. I'll see you tomorrow.